NHADCH 19.1 Wishing for the day to end in this cold and rainy night, last part, asterisk. It's pouring outside, contrary to the clear sky earlier in the day. But for me, this rain is salvation. It's perfect for running away. The heavy rain dims the moonlight and even the streetlights, making the city appear darker than usual, making it harder to see. It can act as camouflage. I run along the main street of the town, and immediately turn into a side street. Then I realize I left my bag and jacket in the hotel suite, along with my money. But it's not possible for me to return, so I can only give up on getting them back. Now that I'm away from danger, I start to plan my next course of action. Should I run to the village? Can I reach the mansion before dawn if I sprint through the night? But I feel like they'll catch me along the way. If they're chasing me, are they chasing me? It's possible. The night captain looked furious. Someone. I need to ask someone for help. But who? A certain face framed by golden locks comes to mind. That's right, Alfred. I remember him saying he'll be working a shift at a bar in town. And I know which one. If I'm not wrong, the bar should be called Canal's Bar. Every trip I make to the bakery, I always pass by that bar, so I know its location, as well as the way there. It's definitely one street ahead. Since tomorrow is Saturday, he should be working the night shift. He should still be there. Mustering my remaining strength, I dash to the bar. The closer I get there, the more that laughter and chatter faintly blend with the sound of rainfall. Shifting my gaze, I catch sight of a wooden sign, Canal's Bar, etched cleanly into its surface. From the window pools an orange glow, illuminating the dimly lit street. I feel the sting of tears. Standing near the bar's entrance is a tall youth, bright blonde hair conspicuous even in the dark. With both hands, he carries a wooden crate filled with empty liquor bottles and tries to stack it onto the other crates. It's Alfred. He's really here. My heart's beating so fast, joy coursing through my veins. Everything will be okay now. I've managed to escape and hold on until now. Fred. Alfred lifts his gaze from the wooden crates. Scans the surroundings as if looking for something. Alfred. After I call him once more, he finally turns to my direction, blue eyes widening in shock. Leanne. Is it really you? Without caring about my appearance, I throw my arms around him in a tight embrace. Alfred's surprise is still evident on his face, but silently hugs me back. Leanne, why are you here? And you're cold and drenched. What happened? Help. Help. What happened to you? Your appearance. Help, Al, I want to talk properly, but my body is stiff and unable to stop shivering due to the cold. I have problems forming words with my mouth, unable to complete a sentence. Get a hold of yourself. Relax. Everything is all right now. Alfred is here. Calm down. What happened? I am at a loss for words. How should I explain it? Alfred waits for me to reply for a few seconds before lifting me up with one arm. Urish. Fine. I'll ask later. Then he walks towards the entrance of the bar. Lifted so suddenly from the ground, I have no choice but to cling onto Alfred. He walks evenly, even while carrying me with only one hand. As usual, his strength is really out of the norm. For now, let's go inside. It's cold out here. Sorry, Al. Work. It's fine. Inside, the smell of liquor and food is thick in the air. It's warm in here too. The bar is spacious, enough room for 10 tables fit for 4 customers each. Many people are enjoying themselves, indulging in beer and conversation. At the middle stands a small stage with people playing musical instruments, a woman in white dress singing soulfully at the front. Her body sways with the rhythm of the music. Alfred brings me to the kitchen. Or rather, he carries me there. On the way, some passing customers and waitresses glance at us curiously. Unable to bear the curious eyes, I just lower my face. Luckily, it's dim here. If my current appearance is visible, I probably won't be able to endure the embarrassment. I'd smack Alfred before fleeing outside. In fact, I want him to put me down already. I can walk. Alfred peers into the kitchen, and shouts, Master. Mom. Yes. What is it? Wait a minute. In the kitchen, a big sweaty man wearing a denim apron and a red bandana shakes a frying pan. There's also a small and plump woman on the adorable side, an apron embroidered with a rabbit-like animal tied to her waist and a red scarf wrapped around her neck. Both of them had responded simultaneously and turned their heads toward us. There are also 2 young apprentice cooks in the kitchen who turn to us out of curiosity. The gazers bore into me, making me uncomfortable. Elle let me down, Alfred. Are you all right? After I nod, he finally let me stand on my own. Oh, who is this kid? What happened to him? Ah, he's my friend. He went to the same school as me. I'm sorry, but I want to lend him a room upstairs. I'll pay for it later. Or you can deduct it from my salary. I don't mind, but. The plump lady inspects me, her eyes widening. Then she frowns. Wait, he looks, what happened to him? That. NHADCH 19.2. I don't even know where I should start explaining. What just happened is too terrible. I don't feel like recounting it in detail to someone I just met. As I'm thinking of a way to naturally deflect her question, the lady staring at me flashes a troubled smile before shaking her head. It's okay. You don't have to force yourself to talk. Did you run through the cold rain to get here? You seem to be injured too, can you wait for a while? I'll call a doctor immediately. No, maybe it'll be faster to bring you to them. Ah, but can you walk? If it's hard on you, I can call a carriage. And no, it's okay. I'm not injured to the point where I'll need a doctor. Is that so? Are you sure? She keeps asking me this question, to which I respond by nodding continuously. Though it doesn't stop her from watching me, eyes full of worry. I can't calm down, looking toward the ground to avoid her gaze. Then, as I look down, I catch a glimpse of my appearance. I finally understand why she's so worried about me. Even though I was frightened to death, I should have fixed my clothes as much as I could before entering the store. My shirt is torn apart, exposing my torso, and my pants are half open. How embarrassing. Dark red imprints cover my wrists. Not only am I soaking wet and dirty, there are many scratches all over my body from shaking off the hotel staff. What a terrible appearance. Anyone can guess what happened just by looking at me. What happened? Who did you run away from? I immediately adjust the front of my wet shirt. If you need something, please tell me at once, okay? Says the landlady, gently patting my shoulder. She must think someone sexually assaulted me. While she isn't wrong, the situation didn't progress as far as she assumed. I want to correct her, but just the thought of voicing it gives me the urge to run away. Instead, I keep silent and nod in reply. All right then, you can use the second room from the back on the second floor. It should be empty today. Wait, let me bring you some clothes. It's my husband's, so it might be too big to you, but please bear with it. It's okay. The landlady leaves the kitchen, and makes a small run to the back of the building. After a while, she returns with a towering pile of miscellaneous items. Here it is. The room key, spare clothes, and bath towels. If you need anything else, just tell me. Thank you very much. I try to accept the things she hands to me but almost drop them due to my trembling arms. I feel so useless. I can't even hold things properly. I'm sore, right. Beside me, Alfred extends one hand and takes them all. I thank him and he nods, eyebrows still furrowed. He stays silent the whole time, seemingly in a bad mood. He must be annoyed at me for disturbing him at the busiest time of his shift. Sorry, Alfred. It's fine, he promptly replies, before sinking into silence once again. Definitely in a bad mood. Don't overdo it. Just let Al bring it for you. You sure you're fine with just this? Asks the landlady once more. I shake my head. This is enough. Is that so? Well, my offer still stands if you require anything, says the landlady. Really, who would do such a thing? Again, I lower my gaze until all that I can see are my feet. It's not something I can freely talk to anyone even if I feel like it. Since the culprit is the captain of the Royal Palace Knights, not being mindful of the impact of my words will only cause trouble. To myself, my family, and everyone else. Even I understand that. At my flustered state, the landlady waves her hand. It's okay. No need to talk about it right away. We can talk when you're calmer. Okay. A worried smile on her lips, she strokes my head with her warm and plump hand. Her gentleness isn't what I'm hoping for. Now I feel even more pathetic. How shameful. I'm a man. What am I getting weak for? Get a hold of yourself. I'm sorry, Mom. Please excuse me from tonight's shift. I'll fulfill it tomorrow. It's okay. You've always been diligent at work anyway. Rather than that, look after that kid. Wait a minute. The landlady makes another little run to the kitchen, and returns with 2 bottles in her hands. Each a shade of orange. For you. You must be thirsty from running, right? Drink it. It's fruit juice, sweet and delicious. Ah, her kindness brings tears to my eyes. Suppressing the sobs threatening to escape my throat, I reach out to grab the bottles. But Alfred quickly takes them away to help me carry them as well. Thank you very much. The landlady nods in reply with a smile on her face. Turning toward the kitchen, I find the master also with a smile on his face, still swinging his frying pan. I thank him as well. Alfred lifts me up before we even leave the kitchen. He climbs the stairs beside the wall while carrying me with one hand, the other carrying the things I was given. Am I that light? No, certainly not. It's this guy's strength that's strange. On one side of the second floor corridor are windows. The other side is lined with doors, 5 to be exact. There's so many rooms. Yeah, the second and third floors are available for rent. So this place functions as both a pub and an inn. Despite the fact that both of Alfred's hands were preoccupied, he still manages to unlock the door. The moment the door is open, a draft escapes from the room. Sorry. Since this is a cheap inn, there's no heating. But at least there's a bathroom, even if the room is small. The toilet's outside, just by the end of the corridor. Wait here. Let me bring some hot water from downstairs. Once Alfred puts me down, he wraps a few of the bath towels in his arms around my head and body until no skin is showing. He then lights the oil lamp. He sets down the rest of the things the landlady gave on the same desk before leaving the room. The room becomes quiet. In a blink of an eye, relief and exhaustion crashes into me, and I fall flat on the cold floor. Head spinning, I look around the room. The room is narrow, with a small desk and chair. Placed against the wall is a single bed, fit for one person only. There is another door on the wall to the right. Seems to lead to a smaller room. From what I can see through the gap between the door and the frame, it's probably the bathroom. Even though this space is quite small, it gives off a feeling of warmth. The faint woody scent is also somewhat calming. But to be honest, the room is only considered narrow by Western standards. It's still far larger than the rooms in cheap Japanese inns. As I blankly stare at the warm orange lamp, listening to the laughter and singing coming from downstairs, slowly but surely do I regain a sense of calm. I like the sound of others' activities. Gentle, and makes me feel connected to everyone. It gives me the illusion that I'm not alone. As I'm still dazed, Alfred returns to the room with a large barrel filled with hot water, and prepares for my bath. As usual, his strength is phenomenal. A while later, Alfred approaches my side and grabs my arm. The bath is ready. Come on. His touch is so sudden that it causes me to let out a strange noise. Shivers run down the arm in Alfred's hold. Ever since my escape from the hotel, my body has ran unpleasantly hot. Especially, at the lower half of my body. NHADCH 19.3. Warning, slightly NSFW. It seems like that drug in the tea is an actual aphrodisiac. I could still handle its effects earlier, but the sudden physical contact from Alfred goes past the tipping point. With my heightened sensitivity, his touch is scorching, no matter how light or brief. I really want to run away. Now that my panic has faded due to my rescue, my condition deteriorates. In response to his touch, my lower half feels hotter. Damn it. That bastard. Even though I only took a sip, my fever still hasn't abated. He did say he had used a version of the drug with a stronger dosage. Thinking about what would have happened had I drunk the whole cup, I feel horrified. I likely wouldn't even be able to stand anymore. Unable to escape, I would have been assaulted by that scum just like that. A shiver runs through my body. Too scary. I don't want anything to do with that bastard anymore. Even imagining it is too much. Leanne. I'm alright, controlling my trembling, I focus on gently removing my arms from Alfred's grasp. I'm alright. Thank you, Alfred. To convince him that I'm fine, I flash my usual smile and muster all my willpower to stand. You can go back to work already. I'm sorry for bothering you. What are you saying? You definitely aren't bothering me. I'll pay for the room too. You don't have to worry. Hey. But I ignore him, quickly slipping past Alfred and entering the bathroom. The door is still open from when he had gone to prepare the bath. Upon entering, I immediately shut the door. Inside is a small one-person ceramic bathtub filled with hot water. Thick steam rises from the surface of the water, filling the narrow room. A mix of pink, aqua blue, and light green tiles cover the walls. Such a pattern gives the bathroom a somewhat warm and cute atmosphere. Did the landlady design this? As I settle down, thoughts begin running through my mind again. How did I get myself in such a mess? No, I do understand. I'm simply reaping what I sow. I sink down onto the cold tiles, heaving a big sigh. Definitely the worst day ever. I pick up the small wooden bowl floating in the bucket of hot water, which Alfred carried up earlier. Filled the bowl and poured it over my head. Then I lean against the bathtub, feeling tired and weak. A helpless sigh escapes my lips. Mixed with the hot water flowing down the drain is my own pre-cum. This really sucks. I want cold water, or even better, iced water. If I pour that over my head, would this fever subside? Just what kind of drug did I ingest? Why does this crap even exist? Will the effects really disappear in the morning like the captain said? I want to get rid of my worsening fever, but the water isn't helping at all. I have no other choice but to touch myself until release. In the end, once wasn't enough, so I have to go for a second round. At this point, I'm completely exhausted. Physically and even mentally. As I sit next to the bathtub, I place my arms on the edge. Rest my head on the makeshift pillow before closing my eyes. So tired. I can't even move anymore. Nor can I muster the willpower to take off my drenched clothes. If I sleep just like this, this fever might disappear on its own soon. It might be better to sleep now. If I catch a cold, maybe that fever will offset this disgusting one. Sounds pretty reasonable, and also sounds like the best thing to currently do. Meanwhile, the symptoms flare up again. My eyes burn with the urge to cry. Please release me from this suffering. I just want to sleep. I stay in place, left with an intense fever that will most likely give me a rough night, when there is a knock on the bathroom door. It completely took me by surprise. My heart pounds violently, and my breathing stops for a few seconds. Leanne, you okay? It's Alfred's voice. I told him to return to his shift. Why is he still here? Just go back. I beg of you. I don't want him to see my shameful appearance. To keep him unaware of my distress, I do my best to calmly answer him. Alfred, I said that you can return to work. Just go back. Looks like you haven't collapsed inside. Thank goodness. Why yeah, I'm still awake. So go back already. Please. Suddenly, the door swings ajar. Don't open the door. Close it now. My current appearance will soon be exposed. What should I do? Sure enough, Alfred peeks his head through the doorway and catches sight of me. His eyes widen, and then he deeply frowns. Gee, get out. Stupid. I avoid his gaze. Enough already, just get out. As I thought. Without any hesitation, Alfred kicks off his shoes and removes his socks before entering the bathroom. My cries of refusal be damned. I have the urge to run away from him, but I don't have even an ounce of strength left in my body. I can't even move a body part, let alone stand up. What are you doing? I've already prepared the hot water, so just go and see. The moment he grips my shoulder, I gasp. The area where our skin meets burns instantly, sending tremors through my form. As he drags me up, my wet clothes rub against my sensitized skin. Shivers run through my entire spine. No, I'm unable to hold in that strange sound. Once I realize my blunder, I press my lips tight together as if there's no tomorrow. Alfred stills. I can hear him gulp. He must have realized it by now. Still averting my eyes, I brush his hand away. Well, I tried to but failed. His grip is too firm. Please. Didn't I say before to let go? He grabs my drenched shirt and pulls it over my head against my will. Please, don't sit at this kind of place while still wearing wet clothes. I said take a bath, so why is your body this cold? Are you stupid? Shut it. In the end, my resistance is in vain. After stripping me of my clothes, he tosses me into the bathtub. Alfred then leaves the bathroom with furrowed eyebrows. After a while, he returns with some bath towels, the frown still pasted on his face. He rolls up his shirt sleeves and pulls me out of the bathtub before proceeding to wrap my head and body with the towels. Once he's done, he carries me in his arms out of the bathroom. At this point, my body is as limp as a rag doll. And as expected, the heat starts to spread through me once more. I'm unable to resist it, too desperate to continue enduring. Whoa. Alfred tosses me on the bed before climbing onto it himself. He pins me down. At the same time, he also pulls off all the bath towels wrapped around my body one by one. Oral. NHADCH 19.4. Warning, NSFW. He caresses my inner thighs, fingers brushing softly at the most sensitive of regions. Seeing my dick hard and erect and wet, he reaches out and wraps his hand gently around it. Did someone give you a drink? Alfred asks, displeasure apparent on his face. Or maybe smeared something on you. Hot fingertips explore my entire body, leaving no nook or cranny unsearched. I think I'm about to faint. It feels so good. This is bad. This can't continue. My rationality crumbles away with his every touch. Leanne, did you drink something from someone? Ah, stop. Yes, I did. Stop touching. Alfred obeys. Relieved at the loss of physical contact, I slump back onto the bed, trying to calm my breathing. He spiked my tea. When I took a sip. Who did it? Who? It's. Just as I nearly answer his question, I quickly bite my tongue. I probably shouldn't tell him. Yes, it's better not to let him know about it. In the first place, Alfred shouldn't need to concern himself with this. I thoughtlessly asked him for help, but asking for more is. Ah no, Arush. His fingers start moving again, rubbing the tip of my cock. I gasp, my hips unconsciously bucking up as pearls of pre-cum drip down the base of my length. Even without looking, I can feel myself leaking heavily. Do you know his name? Name. Seeing that I won't say any more, Alfred pumps my cock. I shiver. Esto. Do you know him? He resumes rubbing the tip, spreading the wetness all over. The heat. A moan almost escapes my lips, but I hold it down just in time. Alfred frowns. It's someone you know, isn't it? If it is, tell me his name. Should I just tell him? No, I absolutely can't do that. Because Alfred, the future hero, won't ever cross paths with Serpentine. Both in the present and in the future. Plus, what has happened already happened. Noticing my desire to ignore his questions, he pumps my cock quicker, giving me no time to catch my breath. Hurrah! My entire field of vision turns red and white. My consciousness clouds over until the only thing I can focus on is the intense stimulus. The pleasure running through my entire body is too much, almost painful, and the neurons in my brain feel on fire. Oral, stop. No more. I'll answer, his name is Serpentine. Serpentine. As Alfred finally loosens his grip, my body sinks to the sheets. I desperately try to catch my breath. This truly sucks. Well, he'd eventually get it out from me anyway. Alfred clicks his tongue. So it's that guy, he mutters to himself. You know him. Yeah, I heard about him from the people in our class. I see. My seatmates also talk about that Serpentine quite often. So it's natural for Alfred's seatmates to do so as well. They're always saying things like the captain is the coolest. What a lie. He's a complete jerk. Oral, let G go already. He's still touching me, the heat from his palms searing into my skin, stimulating my body to react again. Heat pulls into my belly, into my groin. If this keeps going on, I will. When did you meet him? After the match. No, stop it please, no more. If you tell me properly, I'll let go. Alfred stares at me, eyes stern. As if warning that he won't forgive me should I hide anything from him. Panting for air, I realize the difficulty in maintaining my silence. It's already settled that he won't let me go anyway. If he goes further than this, my sense and reasoning will most likely crumble to nothing. Rather than reveal everything in delirium, I want to do it while I still have the capacity to think about my choice of words. I understand. Alfred nods before finally releasing his grip. Did you meet him after the end of the match? I nod in reply, to which Alfred nods again, prompting me to continue. His face is still twisted into a frown. And then, what happened? He said he had some things to discuss with me. So he took me to a hotel. Are you stupid? He yells the moment I let out the last word. I close my eyes out of reflex and shrink away from him. He wanted to scout me. I was going to reject him, but he said he had already reserved a place and prepared a carriage for our meeting. And in front of everyone, he also said that he had spoken to my father about the matter. I had no choice. I had planned to go home immediately after rejecting him. From Alfred's direction comes a strangled gasp. Have I displeased him? Timidly, I look up at his face. But all I see is a slightly awkward expression. I understand now, sorry for yelling at you. I was very upset, and you didn't seem to want to talk about it. I'm the one in the wrong here. And I probably overdid it. I'm truly sorry, Al. It's nothing. What happened next? And then, I rejected his proposal about joining the Royal Palace Knights. I said that I would return home. But he suddenly pushed me down. Fortunately, I managed to run away from the hotel even while drugged. A moment of silence. Then Alfred breaks the silence and said, should I kill him? NHADCH 19.5. Warning, NSFW. Alfred's eyes are narrowed, the color of his irises bleeding into a deeper shade of blue, grains of gold scattering among them. Such scary words had left his lips, and the low timbre of his voice didn't make it any better. His eyes only ever look like that when he's furious. When was the last time I saw it? It seems like ages ago. He's actually furious for someone as stupid and wretched as me. Did he touch you here? He suddenly starts stroking my cock again, his fingers gliding up and down from the base to the tip. I jolt. My muscles turn to mush, and I'm left only to quiver from the sensation. He didn't. Really. NGHJ just a little bit with his fingers. Over here too. His wet finger slides to my back, slipping into the crease between my butt cheeks, brushing against that forbidden place. A wave of panic crashes into me, and I quickly shake my head, thrashing in an attempt to escape. And no, he didn't touch that part. I see. Alfred finally retracts his hand. I'm so relieved. Curious about what Alfred is thinking, I look up, only to find him peeling off the remaining bath towel covering me. What? Don't. Let me see your wounds. No need. He still persists. He grips my knees and spreads them open. No, don't look. There are bruises here. He shifts his attention to my inner left thigh, where a large circular bruise is forming. Must be from when that guy pressed me down with his knee. It hurts when touched. I try to remove Alfred's hand from my inner thigh, but he grabs my wrist instead. There are also some on your wrist. The marks on my wrist look slightly swollen, gradually turning a dark red. That serpentine guy really wasn't gentle in trying to keep me from escaping. Or maybe it's because of how hard I struggled. Where is he now? Says Alfred. Even if you ask, If Alfred is going to do something to him, then I'm definitely keeping my mouth shut. I've already troubled Alfred enough with this matter. If he actually goes against Serpentine and receives retaliation later on, I won't be able to forgive myself. If you're planning something, then I won't tell you. Alfred looks down for a second, brows deeply furrowing, before turning his gaze back to me. You left your bag and coat behind, right? His words cause me to twitch in surprise. You probably won't be able to get it yourself, so I'll go in your stead. I'm not letting you return there. Tell me the location. You'll really just get my luggage. Yeah, really. There's a subtle pause before Alfred finally says, yeah. I look up at Alfred, who returns the favor. As our stare down continues, Alfred's initially sharp gaze gradually softens. He eventually relents and gives me a small nod. But I'd be lying if I say he looks willing. The grains of gold in his eyes start to disappear. Good, he's finally calmed down a bit. Promise me, I say. If I don't take some measures to stop him, I won't be able to feel at ease. He can be surprisingly quick to start a fight. He keeps his eyes locked on me. Yes, I promise. I won't lie to you. Even though his face is still twisted into a dissatisfied frown, his shoulders slump, as if giving up. He still remembers our promise from a while ago. Looks like he's a man of his word. If he can get my luggage for me, it'll be very helpful. What's shameful to me is how I can't possibly show my face in that hotel again. I'm scared. Very scared. For the time being, I don't want to even go near that place. But there are a lot of important things inside my bag. My money is naturally in there, but what's most important is the amulet Marie and the kids gave to me. There's also the library book that I promised to lend to Alfred. If I can just retrieve those items, I'll be content. Shifting my gaze to Alfred, who has been waiting for my reply, I nod. Martina Lafanato Hotel. Got it. Please just go there to get my luggage. I'm already fine. Really. But if something happens to you, Marie, the kids, and even Cheddar's family will be worried. As well as I, of course. Alfred looks at me before heaving a sigh, his frustration apparent. Think about yourself before thinking about me. Seriously, you're always so. Al. Forget it. There'll be some scarring here. Ah. His finger gently brushes the scratch on my chest, making me shiver. Leanne. I look up, only to be met with Alfred's intent gaze. He narrows his eyes, the picture of internal conflict. Eventually, he seems to have come to a decision, the haze in his eyes clearing. What? Is it all right for me to touch you? He attacks my nipples with his fingers, kneading the soft pinkish flesh. Heat pools in the pit of my stomach once more. Is it okay? Rather than okay, it feels too pleasurable. I can lose my sanity over this sensation, which scares me. Because I know we shouldn't be doing these things. His actions grow bolder, and he applies more force to rub at my nipples, almost to the point of pleasurable pain. It's all right, so release your hand, I say, quickly trying to get him to stop. Okay. Alfred slowly brings his face closer to mine. Flashes his usual languid smile, looking slightly happy. But I can just make out a hint of anxiety hidden within the depths of his eyes. Al, can I overwrite it? Overwrite. Yeah, so that you will forget everything that happened. He plants kisses on my neck, cheeks, and forehead, making sure not to miss each part. Just like that night. Alfred's hand roams around every inch of my body. Occasionally, he kisses me straight on the lips, or even gives them a lick. Overwrite. So this is overwriting. Somewhere far from where this heat is fogging my brain, I agree with Alfred's method. And my body relaxes without me knowing it. Rather than ending today feeling disgusted over that bastard's touches, it's undoubtedly better to end it with the warm memory of being with Alfred. 10, maybe even 100 times better. He slowly slides his other large, warm hand down. From my back to my neck to my shoulder, softly caressing. He envelops me with his arms, pressing me against his large body. For some reason, I feel reassured in his embrace. My body slackens, and my eyes slip shut. Does it feel good, Leanne? His low voice rings directly beside my ear. I can't help but nod. It really does feel good. I might just like this feeling of being completely wrapped in his embrace. He feels very warm and soothing to the touch. Frees me of my pressing worries. Yet as a man, I can't help but feel somewhat conflicted about this. I'll definitely never let anyone know I like being held like this. Above me, Alfred laughs at my reply. He traces my lips with his fingers before giving me a peck. You can also touch me. I can. Unable to hold back any longer, I reach out to him, my hand touching Alfred's cheeks, jaw, neck, and shoulder. You're warm. Alfred's response to my unconscious muttering is a smile. Then he holds me tighter in his arms. As he strokes the sides of my belly, the neglected heat starts building up again. My body trembles as a moan escapes my lips. Unwilling to acknowledge it, I squirm as if wanting to escape. But his large hands slide down my body, one of them wrapping around my cock. Up and down his hand went, pumping my cock, a heady feeling clouding my mind. A bead of pre-cum glistens at the tip. The wetness builds the longer he goes at it, until the base of my cock is damp with my own fluids. No, stop. He slides his tongue across my nipples, teasing the nibs. He presses down against them with his tongue, as if he's trying to distract me. Here's the heat again, closing in on me, knocking out all sense and rationality. Shivers rack my body, my cheeks flushing from both the heat and embarrassment. They're usually not this sensitive, so why am I so hot and bothered by his licking? Don't lick hyaa. Instead of listening to me, Alfred smiles and grows even bolder with his attack. At the same time, he keeps my cock in his grip, teasing the tip with his thumb. Moans and other embarrassing sounds tumble out of my lips. Ugh. I want so much to close my ears. I can't take it. It feels so good, I'm about to go crazy. Stop already. But of course he doesn't. Playfully, his hands keep running along my body. And just when I'm on the verge of blowing a load, he immediately lets go. Out of surprise, I raise my head towards Alfred. Leanne. His eyes, narrowed and dark blue, tremble. His breath comes out a little rough, a little jagged, and I can see his Adam's apple bobbing. I want to come. I want to release the heat threatening to swallow my body whole. But I don't know what to do. Alfred's body is obstructing my hands, so I can only grasp his arms. Please. Do something. Seriously, just do something, anything. I'm already going crazy. Can I touch myself with you? For a moment, I'm unable to comprehend his question. But before I can react, he has already taken off his pants and is in the process of pulling out his dick. The one size difference is unbearable to look at, so I immediately turn my head away. What should I do now? He scooches over until his erect and scorching dick is lined beside mine. And he starts pumping them together in one hand. Our dicks slide together, the sound of gasps, pants, and wet and sticky friction filling the room. Hearing those noises gives me the urge to shut my eyes. Is that voice mine? No way. His hands never stop, his energy and stamina shocking me. Our scents mix, musky and heady with a hint of spice, and I slump back onto the bed. NGHH, and I'm finally over the edge. Alfred groans, low and breathy, and from his cock also spurts hot, milky white. His cum drips from his hand and my cock, down to my belly and thighs, painting them white. My body responds to the sensation, and before long, my cock grows hard, throbbing again. Veins bulging, in need for attention. I look around, taking in the mess we both made. There's cum everywhere. I can't tell if it's mine or Alfred's. Then I really can't stand it anymore, my consciousness finally fading.